Hello everyone, welcome back to the Almighty Blues FC, a fan channel for all to see. Yes, by now I hope you all have got the rebrand, and I hope the notifications that you see on your phone are not being ignored or disregarded because it is Almighty Blues FC, which is what RCBian Chelsea Fan TV was, right? So I hope people who are seeing the notifications do not disregard, like I said, and requesting those who do not even see that, press that bell notification icon because we are having a lot of live streams now, and hopefully you all will enjoy it as ever. Like, if not for you, we wouldn't have been here, right? So if you like it, smash that like button so that we have more people joining in as well, and we have a great discussion because yes, it's been a fabulous week. It is the week of the Champions League. We are champions of Europe, yes, and we have to come back to discuss what happened in Europe. But before that, a couple of sad news that I heard today, so I have to discuss that with you and at least just mention that. Firstly, it is Nathan Ake. Yes, Nathan Ake, an ex-Chelsea player who's currently playing for Manchester City, unfortunately lost his dad. I think his dad passed away the same night that he scored for Man City 2 days back. So really sorry, and rest in peace to him, and condolences to the family there. And Reece James, well, the news is that Reece James has actually been burgled and he's been robbed of his Champions League as well as his Super Cup medals. That's the latest report today, and that's really bad as well. I hope he's able to find it and some strict action is taken against that. Like, that is something that we would not wish for any person who wins the Champions League because it doesn't happen every year, right? But anyway, having said that, I see a few people in the chat already. Thanks for joining, everyone. Let me quickly give a shout out to Jordan. Jordan, big up to you. And of course, Chelsea Perspective is always great channel as well. Chelsea Perspective. Everyone, please take a look of course, we have Rishabh from the Late Winner Show. The Late Winner Show is another great channel. Like, they cover a lot of leagues, so I would recommend highly as well. And of course, Jade, a Liverpool fan. Yes, Jade, we will discuss a lot of Liverpool content as well today. But yes, we're starting off with Chelsea, of course, as always. And Amaya, big up to you for joining as well. And Let's Talk Ball is on. Always a pleasure to have you, as well as Shri Oberoi. Like, again, a lot of people in the chat have channels and always supporting great Chelsea community we are building. Hope we have a great discussion. And as I say that, I have to obviously welcome my guests because it's been a while they're waiting. Firstly, I would like to welcome back Max from Burton Ballerz. Max, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Great to have you.
I'm happy to be on the show today, discussing all things Chelsea and other things.
Absolutely. And of course, like, Max has been on the channel before, like, people must have seen, but it was obviously for the Who Am I trivia, where he did tremendously well, in my opinion. Like, he's in the top 2. So
should have done better though.
Yes, and of course, like, we had a debate about, the question.
It's the pressure of the hot seat. That's what it is. Yeah.
That's what I would say, definitely. But yeah, then I'm looking forward to the final. Hopefully, you qualify for that. But yes, great to have you because Max knows his stuff. Like, he has been one of Chelsea fans who knows Chelsea from ever so long. So for me, hearing Max's views is great in football in general, right? As in, great to have you, Max. But just generally, Max, now that a few weeks have passed and we haven't met for a couple of weeks, you're seeing the performances, right? As in, what are you most happy about? Just the fact, like, I think we haven't conceded, I think, an open play, goal in the Premier League at all. And I think in 600 minutes, we just conceded 2 goals. So that's like tremendous defense, which is still kind of, maintaining its form. Or, of course, Lukaku, right? As in, he's scoring goals for fun. But do you think we are relying too much on Lukaku? What do you reckon?
Well, what I'm happy about is the fact that we've got somebody who knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, because he's already scored 3 Premier League goals. And when you think last season, we had, I'm just looking at Tottenham equalising, I think. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so we didn't have anyone who can put the ball in the back of the net. Obviously, we're relying on penalties from Jorginho as our top goal scorer. But in these tight games now, we've got, we saw it on Tuesday, where he just scored a goal out of nothing, basically, in between 2 defenders to get that winner. You mentioned about the clean sheets that were good. It is good, but the only worrying thing I've got on that one is because last season we were so good, we weren't even giving the opposition a chance to have a shot on target. They're having a lot more shots on target now than they did last season. But another thing to be happy about, we've got Mendy in goal. So, I heard a lot of people saying, okay, Mendy kept a lot of clean sheets, but he wasn't called upon a lot because our defence was so solid. But, he's been called upon a lot now, and he's doing the business now. So he's in that bracket of, so when to win a league, you need like a top class goalkeeper who, when the chips are down, can still help you out. And that's what I'm seeing with Mendy now. He's made some fabulous saves over the last couple of games. So, yeah.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
you've spoken about the over-reliance, on Lukaku. That's my worry, is that if he gets an injury, please God no, then we will struggle a bit. But maybe it's because if he's the focal point. But last season when he wasn't there, Thomas Tuchel can get us to play in a different way, So I'm hoping that we'll get more goals from Werner. I'm hoping that because Lukaku's coming and taking away the pressure of Werner. If Werner's called upon, I'm hoping that he can deliver this season. And if we can still get contributions from the likes of Havertz and others, then
we should be fine overall, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the key. That's a great call. Definitely. We'll discuss a lot in detail as well. And as I say that, obviously, you have to welcome the second guest, which is again, coming back to Almighty Blues FC is Akash. Akash, first time as a rebranded channel. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, Ankit. Thank you for having me on. Is the echo issue still there, or am I audible?
I think it's okay, right? I don't know about the chat. Maybe you can comment, but for me, you sound good. But anyway, as in moving forward, Akash, I know the last time you were there on the show, I think it was a transfers episode. It was a peak of the transfer season where we were in, right? And now that everything has happened and all the clubs have, kind of finished, European transfers are done and dusted with. As in Europe, right? Who do you think has got the best transfer window, and where do you rate our transfer window totally?
The obvious answer is PSG, of course. As in, they've had a FIFA window, so to speak. They pretty much bought everyone, and they haven't spent too much. So, in terms of squad balance, maybe they're not the most balanced out there. Maybe they're a bit top heavy, so to speak. But it's still a very good transfer window, right? And if you look at ours, United probably has had a blinder of a transfer window. They needed a good central defender to come in. They got one of the best in Varane. And they needed a goal scorer. They needed a creator / goal scorer. And, even if Ronaldo's like 36 right now, he's still one of the world's best. So if you look at them, they've pretty much had the best transfer window in England for sure. And if you look at ours, I think we had this discussion last season as well, right? There were two maybe glaring gaps in the squad. One was up top, where we didn't have a plan, where we didn't have an out-and-out finisher, so to speak. Neither Werner nor Havertz were there, that clinical centre forward who could, maybe hold the ball or bring people into play. So we didn't have that. We fixed that with Lukaku, maybe the best in the world. And one glaring, gap in the squad was in midfield, where we didn't have, someone who was mobile and who could plug space, who could, get around and put a foot in. And it remains to be seen how Saul adapts to the league, but he's still a very good player, and hopefully Tuchel can get the best out of him. So our window, two major positions, and we did great to plug those gaps. So happy. Let's see what the season has in store.
Right. I think for me, the obvious point here is, again, I don't want to dwell too much on it, but the fact that we still have a big squad. So Tuchel managing that squad, which is something that is his forte as well. Hopefully, he's able to do that throughout the season, like Max said as well, right? The fact that we have also covered those gaps, and we have those kind of attributes throughout the squad, which can kind of fit in. And if they play their roles, we should be fine overall. So again, crossing our fingers. But obviously for people in the chat, people who joined late, again, smash that like button. We'll have more people joining in and discussing, because lots to discuss. But yes, it's not just us three Chelsea boys in blue in the Almighty Blues FC channel right here. we are expecting a Tottenham supporter as well. Tommy Talks Ball is going to join hopefully midway through, because yes, as we know, the Conference League match is going on, and Chelsea fans, we wouldn't be so interested in Conference League match for sure. Come on, we shouldn't be. So yeah, and then having said that, I haven't even checked the score, to be honest. I know it was 1-1, but
it's 2-2 at the moment.
Wow.
Put it this way, I couldn't even find it on the One Football app. They forgot to put it on there, such as the importance of that competition. So I managed to find it on BT Sport, but it's 2-2. And they've put out a strong team as well, but we can discuss Tottenham later on. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And, as we say that, obviously, we've had the major competition, the main competition, Champions League, which is just done. So let's go to the first topic, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yes, a lot of matches that happened. Obviously, it's the first Champions League return, and our European Player of the Year, is basically facilitated. But having said that, Max, I'll come to you, because we did cover on the preview show that basically, Zenit cannot be taken lightly, because I think they hadn't lost for about 6 months to any side, any competition. So that was like a big kind of form, trajectory that they had, right? But were you still surprised that Tuchel did not make a lot of changes, and actually especially with Werner, Chilwell, kind of people not starting? Is that something that surprised you, or do you think we probably went with the right combination?
You know what? I underestimated Zenit, actually. I thought we were going to win quite handsomely. I know you said that they haven't lost a lot of games, but they were playing in the Russian league. I think in the Champions League, they finished bottom of their group. They failed to qualify twice, I think, in the last couple of seasons. But fair play to them. They came with a game plan. They were very solid. And what I think, my team, what I would have gone with, I would have gone with more of a runner in one of those advanced positions in one of the top three. Because if you look at Mount and Ziyech, they both like ball to feet. And if you're playing in front with a team who's going to be two banks of four and solid and organised, you need somebody who's going to do something a bit different, who's going to try and beat a man one-on-one to try and take them out of their shape a bit. So I'd have liked to either seen somebody, I know Pulisic is injured, it would have been ideal for this game, but I'd like to see probably somebody like a Hudson-Odoi, given his proper position. Obviously when he's been playing as a right wing back up front. So just with instructions to try and sort of make those runs and go one way, go the other, try and just get them out of shape. Or maybe Werner, because what Werner does, he stretches the play with his direct running, So, and I thought actually when he made the substitute that he would have brought on one of those two rather than bringing on Havertz. Havertz runs with the ball a bit better than probably Ziyech does, but he's still more about passing movement and things rather than dribbling, dribbling skills. I'd love to have seen a dribbler just to try and open them up a bit.
Interesting. I certainly get that. And as I say that, we have Doug from the Dugout Football channel joining. Again, great channel, covers a lot of leagues. So, people in the chat, do feel free to subscribe to these channels. Like I said, Blue Clouds TV, Dugout Football channel, Chelsea Perspective, Bala Ball, Let's Talk Ball with On, great channels and always supporting. Having said that, Akash, I think Max spoke about the way Zenit was set up, right? So they were, I think, in a 4-5-1 kind of setup, and for me, of course, the both wingers were their players who kind of made a lot of runs off the ball. But when it comes to Chelsea, right, again, first half, it's an understatement that we were underwhelming. There's no secret there. And I know Akash, for people in the chat, Akash is also a huge Kovacic fan, just like me. And I think even Azpilicueta fan. Like, again, as Chelsea fans, we love our players, but we have a special, something for Kovacic and Azpilicueta. I know as a matter of fact. But would it be fair to say Azpilicueta had an underwhelming first half, and not just him? I think Ziyech also, as well as I think even a lot of others, right? As in, only people who kind of stood out for me in the first half were Kovacic and maybe Christensen and Rudiger. Is that because of the fact, Akash, that the formation of Zenit was 4-5-1 and they were playing low block, and we were forced to kind of just wait and watch what they do?
Could be. It could either be. How I see it is, it's too early in the season for us to expect fluency every 3 days, right? So players haven't had the largest of breaks, so they had the Euros, and it's been constant strain for a lot of these players, and they are going to pick up soft muscle, as in soft tissue injuries, at some point, right? So I think they're still pacing themselves and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And in the first half, we didn't move the ball fast enough, and I think our midfield in general, Jorginho and Kovacic were trying to play the ball into Lukaku's feet and then trying to get people to play off him. But Ziyech and Mount were just a little bit off the pace, so to speak. So knitting our play together in the final third wasn't happening for me. And I don't know if other people have noticed it, but Mount and Ziyech don't work together. And I can't think of too many performances where they've complemented each other. Mount finds Havertz for fun, and it's the same with Havertz as well. I think they sort of vibe and they sort of they enjoy playing with each other. When it comes to Ziyech, he needs movement in front of him to find people. So he needs people like Pulisic or Werner making those runs, stretching the defense. And he has space to play those balls. We didn't have too much of an attacking dimension in the first half outside of Lukaku holding the ball up and maybe bringing others into play. And I think Tuchel sort of recognized that, with bringing Havertz on, but that Burton Ballerz just mentioned, it didn't change the dynamic too much, because maybe Havertz likes to sort of drop deep, get the ball, and then sort of influence play, right? In some ways. So I don't think it's too much of a cause for concern, because it's very, very early in the season, but it definitely gives Tuchel something to think about. If other teams set up with 2 banks of 4, and then we don't have place to play, we don't have space to pick holes in their defense, then if Lukaku is our only option, if the sort of balls that Azpi plays is our only option, we maybe need to think of doing things a little different. Pulisic definitely with his one-on-one ability, Hudson-Odoi, and again Hudson-Odoi at right wing back, I'm not a huge fan, because it definitely needs a little bit of tactical nous and defensive stability to be able to play that role. I don't think he has that as of now. But again, someone who can sort of do something different, beat a person one-on-one, beat people either side. We need to sort of explore those options as well. So that's how I see it, and open to suggestions, your thoughts there.
Yeah, it's absolutely great point, because for me, again, Akash kind of hit the nail on the head, because Ziyech, him pinging those long balls, doesn't work with Mount, someone who wants the ball in front of him. That's one aspect. But the other aspect, we see this comment, I think I'll go to Max for this, because I think Bobby, big up for joining. Should Mount be on the bench for next game? So for me, I'll put my perspective first, Max. The way I see it, I know that for his standards, Mount definitely had an underwhelming game as well, right? But again, for people who probably look at the attacking side, for me, he had a lot of balls that he won as well, and those turns that he has, again, those turns, I think he beat his man at least thrice on those turns that he has, and those half turns, and that is something that someone like Havertz, who probably came late on, worked out better, because he has that chemistry more than a Ziyech, and they were probably playing closer. Would that be a fair comment, Max? As in, where would you rate Mason Mount's performance? Would you start?
Yeah, I agree with what you said. That's what I said in my preview. Actually, I said he wasn't great on the ball. Either him or Ziyech, they kept giving the ball away. Did a couple of decent things, but where Mount did excel is in his ball recovery, because there's a lot of times he won the ball back. And this guy, he amazes me because of his strength. Because when you look at he's a young lad, and he's not the most bulky, is he? But he knows how to use his body. Because these Russian guys, they were big guys, but they were bouncing off him at times as well. So you know what? In answer to Bobby's question, we're playing Tottenham, so he has to play against Tottenham. Tottenham is a game, it's a big rival, and you know what it goes, the tackles come flying in those sort of games. So you need people who are going to be prepared for the battle. And one thing you can say about Mason Mount is that he doesn't shirk his responsibilities. He's not afraid to put himself into 50-50 tackles. You know, if the alternatives are Ziyech, who I wouldn't play in that game, because I just think he still is finding his feet, although he's been here a season and a bit, he's still finding his feet. And when it's a faster tempo game, I think that he'll definitely struggle. Even to some extent, I think sometimes Havertz, he's the one who needs a bit more time on the ball as well in some games, certain games. In this game, you know what's going to happen. I'm not sure if you saw when they beat Tottenham beat Manchester City, and they had Skip and some other people, and they were going in hard with the tackles. And with the way the refereeing is now, where you're going to be more lenient with these tackles, and they're letting a bit more go, you do need Mason Mount's fight in the next game, definitely.
Yes, absolutely. I just wanted someone to second it, Max, and thanks for that, because yes, we often kind of compare players to what their ability is or what their form has been. Like, the fact is, like, the guy does much, and at the end of the day, it's just the first Champions League game of the season, and and that's where we're coming to. The crucial point was, of course, like, Akash, for our sake, Azpilicueta finally turned up, and he saved his best for the last. And a great cross, again, deja vu with the Morata and Azpilicueta, kind of combination. But again, I don't want to compare to Morata, because Akash, for you, that header was not a normal header, right? That is something that I think Lukaku was probably someone who could make it feel like it's easy, but that is something of an addition that we have this season than last, right? For sure.
Yeah, so let's put it this way: if the same match was played last season, right, it ends 0-0. That's the difference that Lukaku has brought to the squad. And a lot of people can talk about patterns of play and how you find that last person in the box. There's different ways to do it, right? But the target man will never go out of fashion. If things don't work, having that person, that you can just play the ball into at any height and he can bring it down and sort of affect games, it's invaluable. And a lot of people wanted Haaland, and maybe the sort of narrative sort of shaped my thoughts that way as well. But the way Lukaku has progressed since he went to Inter Milan, right? So there was talk of Conte making him run the same drill for almost 3 months, where Rana was backed into him, and they kept playing the same ball, and he had to sort of turn Rana and score. So, and you can see that in how he plays now. His feel for the ball has improved. His first touch, which a lot of people derided him for ages, has improved by leaps and bounds. His overall play in general, and he's always scored goals for fun wherever he's gone. And having a striker of this caliber in our squad, it's something to be excited about for Chelsea fans, for sure. And if you think about historically Chelsea strikers, right, we had Drogba, who could both play on the shoulder as well as be that focal point up top, and we sort of tried to replace him with different profiles. It didn't work till we brought in Diego Costa, who could sort of do the same. And since then, it's been a slew of different strikers who have been blown hot and cold, but now we finally got that one person who can do both. And if you talk about Azpilicueta, again, for me, he's still the best one-on-one defender in the league, right? People say that he's lost his legs, that maybe he's not as nimble as he once was, but he can still put in a shift. He can still mark his zone properly. He doesn't let go of, he tracks runners. He doesn't switch off at any point during the match. And he's an example to younger players. So, and if he can back that up with the sort of attacking output that he showed this match, he's invaluable. And a lot of people were saying that Koundé would come in, phase him out. I think he'll still give the young guy a run for his money, even if we do sign another RCB. Great player, true legend of Chelsea Football Club.
Absolutely. And again, for people in the chat, I would like you to comment, because Azpilicueta, at the end of the day, yes, he had a poor first half, but he has the experience to know what it takes to win such games, and he finally delivered, right? And same thing happened in the previous game. He actually got 2 assists in 2 games. So I don't know, again, against the Spurs, I would also be tempted to actually play Azpilicueta on the wing back position. Play Christensen was fantastic in this game. But coming on to that, I think I've put a poll, guys, in chat. I don't know if you guys have voted. I will take a look midway through the stream, but I'm looking for basically even who was basically the player of the match, right, for you. for me, again, I know Lukaku scored the goal. He got the official man of the match, but Kovacic was someone who was consistent throughout the game, and he's been consistent play in the last couple of games. So hopefully he continues his form. But again, like I would like to know from the chat, who was your man of the match, and again, who was the person that you were really underwhelmed by? My vote goes to Ziyech. But yes, talking a lot about Chelsea games, we will take a look at the poll results later on, because that is about all the UEFA Champions League games put together, right? We have fans here from other clubs as well, so don't get disappointed. We will cover them. So I'll try and share my screen here, because yes, there were a lot of games played, but I think before even sharing my screen, like Max, I think needless to say, right, the first and foremost place that we begin is ManUtd. For us, basically looking at Ole, yet again, like I kind of repeat, it's like a broken record. I go like every few weeks, it's like Ole, doing his stuff. But I don't know, Max, like for you, is it just Ole Gunnar, doing what he does in terms of the tactics? I know they went down to 10 men compared to, say last year when they were, I think, in Turkey. But this time, like, I think even the players, like they have all the players. So don't you think those players should have lived up to what it takes to kind of defend, and they were still giving chances. Like probably Young Boys deserves a lot of kudos, because they were really good even before that second goal, right? As in, do you say the players are to blame, or Ole, whom do you put the blame at?
You know what? Okay. Everyone says Manchester United had a good window, which they did, but I think they're still a very unbalanced squad, because their front five are amazing. People like your Sanchos, your Ronaldos, and everything else. But I just still think where they didn't address the area they didn't address, which they badly lack, is a bit of muscle in midfield. They are very open, and I think we saw it against Wolverhampton Wanderers, where they were lucky to get away with that victory. We've seen it in other games as well. The young boys played with no fear, which I like. They came at Manchester United and they exploited a few of their defensive frailties. My issue with United now, by getting in like your likes of your Ronaldos and people like that, it's that Pogba, for me, Pogba's best position, where you get the best out of him. You did it at Juventus, and you saw it at Manchester United. Your first game, when he had 4 assists, yeah, he's coming off that left. He's got a free roll off the left where he can do what he wants to do. Pushing Pogba back into a midfield too, I don't think he's disciplined enough. And it's no coincidence that whenever he plays that in a 2, Manchester United are open. In transition, they are very open, because his first thoughts is to think forward. Even at Juve, he had 2 defensive-minded players behind him. So he's not the sort of player to play in a 2. Solskjaer's has to take some of the blame as well. Some of the substitutions he made were bizarre. He took off his talisman, Ronaldo. So even when you're down to 10 men, it's just that fear factor of having Ronaldo on the pitch, yeah? So I just feel that, I know you said about the aesthetic pitch and everything else, and he was 36, he didn't really want him to play the full 90 on there, but maybe he could have put on, I'm not sure, was he put on Martial late? I thought he put him on quite late, didn't he? So having an attacking thrust out there to, but as I said, they're 10 men, so it was slightly, that gave young boys a bit more confidence as well, with Manchester United being down to 10 men. But I'm not worried this season about Manchester United. It may come back to bite me in the butt by saying that, but as long as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is their manager, I'm not too worried, because there's the 3 other teams vying for it in Chelsea, Manchester City, and Liverpool. We've got elite managers, and I wouldn't call Solskjaer an elite manager.
Yeah, I agree. And again, people in the chat, I know Rishabh is a fan, Man United fan, that is. But having said that, like even others, right? Just a prediction, I know Man United don't like to sack managers, but I think it's probably the Lampard scenario where he has to perform and deliver this time. So people in the chat, let's guess, when will Ole get sacked? I would like to see which month. Let's see if you get it right. But yeah, for me, definitely it's on. at the end of the day, they have to win. And I think such results kind of prove what Max just said, definitely. Like, I know they were lucky in a way that I think Villarreal and Atalanta did not kind of, have a winner. So them getting only 1 point each is kind of a blessing in disguise for Man United. But still, I would say that, Man United probably are kind of, as in praying that, they qualify as group toppers, because that's something that they want. But having said that, let's look at Chelsea's group, that is Group H as well, because when it comes to Group H, again, Juventus got a very good win against Malmo it was, and hopefully we'll get to form to beat them even more by more goals. But yeah, definitely it's between Juventus and Chelsea. So if at all, I think goal difference will be the key, and of course the Chelsea Juventus games. But yes, like Max said again, Zenit is not something that you can take lightly for future games. So hopefully the other teams are kind of getting maybe just a point against Zenit, and let's see how it goes. But let's look at Group A to begin with. That is of course Man City's group, Akash. So I know Man City got a win. It was basically those that tennis scoreline of 6-3. But Akash, it's clear for me, right? As in Ruben Dias is not something that he was last season. I know Man City are scoring goals for fun, but is it too early to say Ruben Dias it's a second season syndrome, or do you think there's something in there?
Again, I'm not sure. I think a feature with Pep has been that a CB performs to like crazy standards for one season, and then there's like a slight drop off the next, right? I remember Stones being one of the best defenders in England, and then next season he was sort of finding it hard to get into the squad, and now he's back again. So maybe Diaz goes through that. I'm not sure, but he's still a very good defender, right? I think people were premature in their comparisons of Van Dijk and Diaz because they just wanted someone to, maybe compare Van Dijk to. Diaz is not at that level for me, but he's still a very, very competent defender. In his first season in the league, he slotted right into, Man City and was one of their best players. So again, basis this match, I think it's a little too early to say that, he'll struggle this season, but I'm hoping he does for sure. Title rival, and I'm hoping they don't go too far in the Champions League again this season. But even if you look at City as a defensive unit, they have Laporte, right? And they have Stones, and Ake is sort of coming into his element now. He barely broke into the team last season, but he started pretty well. He wasn't too great in the Community Shield, if I remember, but he's sort of improving. And I remember him playing in midfield for us in the Benitez season.
Yes,
I guess the second half of the Benitez season. And I remember thinking he was a very, very smooth player, and he played in the pivot, right? If I remember correct, he played in a few matches.
He was a proper pivot player. As in someone with a left foot would be ideal, right? I was surprised he moved into a centre back role.
Yeah, and he played well in the pivot. It wasn't like he stood out. He had a very good range of pass and versatile player. I'm not too sure why it didn't work out for him with us, but I hope he has a good career wherever he goes. And again, so if you look at Diaz, I think. People might call me biased, but I think Christensen and Rudiger are better players than him, right? So,
yeah, I would buy that definitely.
Yeah, and if they can get firing on all cylinders, shouldn't be a problem for us this season.
Yeah, and as I say that, like obviously we are talking about Man City's group where we have PSG, and we have PSG's manager Pochettino, and you're a Spurs fan. Like what timing? Come on, Tommy, that is called timing. Thanks for coming on, but. Again, people in the chat, like all the links of the guest panelists are below, so please give them a follow. Of course, Max has a great channel of his own, Burton Ballerz, and Tommy Talks Ball. He covers a lot of matches, not just Tottenham, but yes, of course, a Tottenham fan. But how are you, Tommy? First of all, what happened to the match?
It wasn't good, as you'd expect. It wasn't good at all. It was a tough watch. First of all, I just want to say big up to the guests here. I met either one of you, and to the guys in the chat. It's a pleasure to be on your show for the first time, Ankit. But yeah, that Rennes game did not go well. It ended 2-2, but that sort of covered over the cracks. I mean, drawing 2-2 with Rennes is sort of a good result for us now, but we deserve to lose 3-1 or maybe even 4-1. We were horrible. It's not good for us going into the game against you lot. We played Kane as well. We had Kane playing, we had Hotspur playing. Yeah, Hotspur came on early because of injuries. Lucas started. A lot of first team players, and yeah, so it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky for sure.
And it was an away game, right?
Sorry.
Sorry, was Lucas Moura injured? Because I saw him hobbling towards the end.
He got injured as well. Bergwijn got injured. He was 50-50 going into it, Bergwijn. He got injured. Our lack of depth is unbelievable. We just have no depth whatsoever. The fans were calling out for it, you know, myself and fellow streamers. Where's the depth? Where's the depth? And yeah, we just decided to sign young players. And we're paying for it now. We're paying for it now. It's only like, what, 2 weeks into the window? 2 weeks outside the window, I should say. And we're paying for it already. So it's going to be a long... It's going to be a long, long season, and well, a long. We're far away from January the 1st, aren't we? So, yes, it's not good.
Come on, this isn't true, right? Come on, like, this isn't true. You know. Anyway, coming to Tommy, like Tommy, I'll throw in a Poch question to you, right? As in, Pochettino, only he could do it, right? With PSG, like, you know, you genuinely believe. I'm sure you believe it now that he's left Spurs, right? As in, getting that PSG side to actually draw against Club Brugge. I know Club Brugge is not like an easy team to play against, but as in, for sure, right? As in, it's Pochettino and not the players. What do you think is a problem with PSG? Why do they always underperform?
It's a tricky one. I think with PSG, it's not really about tactics. I don't think it's about tactics with PSG. You're managing the egos. I think it's just about managing the egos. Same with Zidane at Real Madrid. You have to manage the egos. Now, their egos in that team right now, with the transfer business they've done, is at an all-time high. I mean, you've got Ramos there, you've got Messi, you've got Neymar. I don't need to go through them. I mean, Icardi's a big personality. He was a massive personality at Inter Milan. So you're dealing with these egos. That's what the job is. And Pochettino didn't have to do that at Spurs as such. He turned sort of average to good players into great players. So he never really had to manage those egos. So this must be new to him. This must be new to Pochettino. Wherever he succeeds or fails, it is still too early. It's still too early for Poch, as it is for Nuno with us. Yeah, it's gonna be very, very tricky for him to adapt and the players to adapt with the way it's going. As I said, yeah, he's used to doing it with young players. But we'll see. If they don't win the European Cup, I think we can all agree that's got to be their target. They have to win the European Cup. League Earns are given. They should be. I know they didn't win it last season. Lille did, but League Earns are given. Them and Man City now. Pep's going to be judged on winning the Champions League. Both clubs have never done it. So yeah, it's going to be tricky for Poch. It's going to be tricky.
Yes, like it's just like the Ole scenario, right? He's got to deliver. Like simply put, like having said that, like as in we cannot undermine the other teams, right? Because there were other teams as well who performed really well this match day. Akash, any particular surprise that came out? Like I know Sheriff, shout out for them. Like they've got the first, I think, Champions League win and Moldovan side. And that was, came out of nowhere, right? As in they're topping the group right now as we speak. And of course, Real Madrid got that late winner against Inter Milan. But I think for me, in the Man City game, Akash, Nkunku is one player who stood out, hat-trick in a losing cause. Anyone that really, took you by surprise, or, something that we could look for the future, some player or maybe any team which really, surprised you.
Yeah, so maybe this is because I watched most of the match, but the number 10 for Club Brugge, right? I think his name was Lang, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, 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 very stylish and direct player, right? And it's refreshing when you see players express themselves. I don't think it happens too often in modern football, where a lot of it is, in structures and patterns and whatnot. But seeing a player just tear, fullbacks apart like that was very, very refreshing for me. And Vanaken, again, I haven't watched too much of him. I've only watched him in the Belgium squad, but, very neat player, neat on the ball, tracks runners, gets back, puts a foot in. So, and Fabinho was great for Liverpool. I don't think he gets as much credit as he deserves. I think he's been consistent in that sort of holding midfield role for quite a while right now. He was at Monaco as well. Very, very good player, and interesting to see a different take on the position. I think he started as a fullback, right, at Monaco, and then he switched to
yes. But he's been tremendous, like for Liverpool, like you said, like one of the best defensive midfielders there is. But I think talking about Liverpool game, obviously, they did very well to come back. I know AC Milan, like shout out for Tomori. I think he was unlucky for that first goal, which was kind of given as an own goal, but he was doing his best. He got a couple of last-ditch tackles that Tomori is known to be doing always. But like for me, I think again Salah missed that penalty. I think he missed a penalty after a good couple of years, if I'm not wrong. But Liverpool look good. Like I know defensively Trent is not that that defender that we all know that he isn't, right? But attacking wise, I think they look good, and if they can keep them fit, I think they definitely have a great shout. But again, like Max, surely Sebastian Haller, like he's got to be the player of the match day, right? Like 4 goals, like he did the Giroud, man, like that's crazy.
When that's the player I was thinking about when you mentioned it. 4 goals, and obviously he didn't take to the Premier League, because if you remember, right, when we played Eintracht Frankfurt in the Europa League a couple of seasons ago, he was one of the danger men. It was him and Luka Jovic, remember that? Yeah. And I think Haller actually scored against us in one of the games, and he had a great record in Germany. Came to West Ham, didn't quite work out for him. He's gone to Ajax and start 4 goals already. So Haaland and the others, you've got some catching up to do, because this guy is set off really quickly. And a big shout out as well, I must say, as Alphonso Davies. Did you see that run where he actually destroyed? It was giving me bad Chelsea vibes when we played against them, when we got destroyed by them at home. When that little run he did to the byline, and he ran across the byline and laid it on a plate for the striker, and that's the same thing he did against us. So, but those are the plus points. Barcelona, awful. What a shadow of themselves. They were terrible. Barcelona without Messi is probably Bradford City or something. Yeah, so yeah, it's not great.
No Griezmann as well. I mean, what are those fans going through?
I know.
What are those fans going through right now?
Yeah. But talking about, you mentioned. Yeah. So what I was saying is, like, talking about Griezmann, right? As in reminded me of Atletico Porto. Again, that was a close game. For me, again, like people in the chat, like for those who watched it, please help me understand. Like, I really don't know why that goal was disallowed, and why was that a red card? Like, both were kind of as an edgy for me. I don't know. People in the chat, was that a red card for you? Was that goal or not? For me, Porto's goal, I think Taremi again deserved that goal. I know the ball touched her hand, but that handball rule is so weird. As in, no one knows what's the real fact, right, in today's day and age. But yeah, yes, a lot of people watching, and I have put up a poll. I hope everyone has voted, and I hope everyone has smashed that like. And anyone who's new to the channel, please take a look at the description. The guest links are there. A couple of them have great channels as well, so I would recommend you all, to those channels as well. So hopefully you like the content, and if you do, subscribe as well as hit the bell notification icon. We are doing a lot of live streams now. Let me quickly take a look at the poll. Just give me a second. Yeah, as I say that, like maybe Tommy, I'll put the platform to you. Like again, talking about Champions League. Sorry, I know that Spurs are not there. No pun intended.
We're not even in the Europa League. We're not even in the next one. But yeah.
Yes. But as in for you in the Champions League, just I know it's an early call, but which was the most impressive team, and which is the team to beat in the Champions League? I know we are champions of Europe, but if you have to kind of put another team, which team will it be? Like one team.
Because it's because I don't think Man United can do too much over 38 games in the Premier League. I don't think they can win. I don't think they can win the Premier League under Solskjaer, but I think they could go on a big run in the Champions League. I think Man United are going to win a trophy with that starting 11, regardless of manager. I think they're going to win the trophy, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Man United go all the way. So if I was betting money, I'd say Man United are going to get to at least the semi-finals, maybe the final, and then you can't look. Chelsea, you lot, I mean, defending champions now, was it? I think it was 3 of the 4 teams in the semis last season were British teams. I think 3 of the last 4. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. I really wouldn't be surprised if the Premier League teams turn out to be the favourites again. And that's crazy. 3 of the 4 teams in the semis were Premier League teams. This is the best league in the world. The Premier League is the best league in the world, and Liverpool right up there too.
Yeah, I feel like it was 2 out of 4. It was.
Was it? I thought it was.
Yeah, no, it was Chelsea and Man City, because Chelsea played Real Madrid, Man City played against.
You must be right. But I think in the quarters there may have been another one or something like that. I couldn't quite remember. Yeah, that goes to show how much I know about Champions League. That goes to show how much I know about Champions League. But yeah, the thing with Liverpool, I feel like this Harvey Elliott injury is massive. I feel like it's massive. We know that you know, Wijnaldum went to PSG on a free, another PSG signing. They never replaced. They never signed a centre midfielder over the summer window. I think they hedged their bets with Harvey Elliott, and you could see why, because he was fantastic first few games of the season. But like Van Dijk, I'm not putting Harvey Elliott in the same bracket as Van Dijk last season, but losing Wijnaldum and then having this guy injured for pretty much going to be the whole season, isn't it? Their title race goes out the window a little bit, and maybe they focus on something like the Champions League too. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing to see how the English clubs do again.
Interesting. Like again, like I just wanted a non-Chelsea view out there, because I know all three of us will say Chelsea, right? But yeah, fair point. Like definitely, you know, on paper they look great, and we have, of course, Solo joining again, a great channel here from FTB Sports. Yeah, I saw the poll, and no surprises there. I think the player of the Champions League Matchday1 was Sebastian Haller, the person who's kind of reborn, and the second, you know, vote kind of goes to Lukaku. I'm assuming because there are a lot of Chelsea fans in the chat, but yeah, then that's something that I would go with as well. But yeah, as in a lot of you know, things that we've discussed in the Champions League. Of course, we have Tommy here, so let's go to the next topic, guys. Some memories there, but yes, a lot of you know, important clashes that have happened over the years, right? But for me, I knew always that, you know, it's the 3-point lane for us. Like, you know, White Hart Lane was a 3-point lane. No secrets there in the past. But I was very surprised. Like, even having said that, I think in kind of the modern era, Spurs have done well. Like, you know, there have been certain you know, kind of results which have gone against us. But still, like, I was very surprised. I think we've beaten Spurs 31 times, and Spurs has just beaten 7 times in the Premier League, right, with 20 draws. And that's actually, as in, there's no comparison, right? But having said that, as in, the catch here is the last 10 matches, I think, at the new stadium, of course, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I think Spurs have won 8 games in the Premier League and have just lost 2 with just, I think, they've got 6 clean sheets in those 10 matches. So that is, like, you know, some stats. So something's got to give for me. And of course, Kane. Like, Kane is, I think, very good in derbies, right? If he's fit and if he has his mindset and he's actually, you know, thinking that he's going to be at Spurs for a while, you never know. I know he had a great start against Chelsea as well in the Premier League. I think he scored 3 in the first 4 Premier League games, but then more recently he scored only 1 in the last 8. Again, something's got to give here, Tommy. So for you, you know, what will be the make or break in this match? Like, you know, just, I know it's a head-to-head. History doesn't really count, but I think in a derby, to some extent, it does, right?
That's a crazy stat. What, only 1 goal in his last 8 against you guys? That's worrying. Kane will play in that game. We took him off early. We took him off early for the young Scarlet, so he will undoubtedly play in that game. It's a lot is depending on the South American situation in terms of who we play, who's in the starting lineup for Sunday. Because we got Ramiro there for Argentina, we got Lo Celso there, and Davinson Sanchez. Sanchez and Ramiro are 2 centre backs of ours. Are 2 probably, I don't know, best centre backs right now. You might even put Dyer in there, but he's injured. So yeah, Lukaku could have a field day. Lukaku could have a field day. If Ramiro and Sanchez don't make it, they're back in training tomorrow. If they don't make it, then it could be anything for you guys. It could be anything for you guys. If we get one of them in, I think we'll make a game of it. Because the way Nuno plays, I talk to a lot of Wolves fans, the way Nuno was with Wolves, they were very, very good against the top 4, top 6. maybe they can sit off them a little bit more. They, the top 4 teams will leave gaps because they attack. They like to be more vibrant and attack you. Whereas against the smaller teams, Nuno struggles, the Wolves fan said, because, you can't sit back against the smaller teams, but he did. And that's why we're losing to Palace. That's why we're struggling against Wolves. In the bigger games, I think we got a better chance. So, and this being a derby, as you say, it's a massive, massive derby. I want to ask you guys. Who do you see as your biggest derby? Who's your biggest derby? Because ours is probably, Arsenal. It's got to be Arsenal, but not too far behind is you lot. I mean, what's your biggest derby? Like, I ask Chelsea fans and they give a different answer. Like, a lot of Chelsea fans give a different answer.
My rivals are Tottenham. My rivals.
It is. We are your biggest rivals. Okay.
Yeah.
Me too. What about Akash?
Yeah, my answer is probably different because I grew up around Arsenal fans and United fans, right? So probably Arsenal, but they're no longer relevant. So
true that. Yeah, but a great call. Great question there, Tommy, because I was actually going to Akash with a kind of similar question. I know Tottenham, Chelsea, we've seen, in that clip, we've had some matches, and that's an understatement. But Akash, one match, I know, apart from that Battle of the Bridge, something that really stands out for you, like that was like a wow. As a Chelsea fan, you really loved it against Spurs. Which one would that be?
4-2 at White Hart Lane in 2012.
KL Mata. Yeah. KL got a wonder strike, right? Again, I don't want to kind of remind the bad memories to Tommy, but I think just putting it out there. I'll put to Tommy as well quickly. Tommy, any match that stands out for you, which I think probably 2017 and I think Conte, when you finally beat us, is that the game in recent times? Would you pick that?
I was going to say that. But the Battle of the Bridge, whenever you mention Spurs Chelsea, it's just the Battle of the Bridge. My mind just goes back to the Battle of the Bridge. What, unbelievable entertainment. And the fact that we were in a title race for the first time in about 40 years. So we were actually in a title race, which took it to another level. It really did take it to another level. But yeah, that's interesting when you say about the rivalries, because I was sure somebody was going to mention Liverpool, because that whole Rafa Benitez Jose thing at the end of the noughties and the early 2000s. So yeah, I mean, there is so much riding on this game. Honestly, I'm not being biased. I'm not just saying this as a Spurs fan. I can never say we're going to lose as a prediction. But going into this game, I don't think we're going to lose. And if you beat us, it'll be by 1 goal. I just have a funny feeling your predictions are going to be very different, I'm sure. But yeah, a lot is always on it's always on the starting lineup. But Kane will be there. And he is a difference maker. So yeah, I don't think.
No, I hear you definitely with Nuno. You at least got a setup. But I'll put a question to Max as well, right, regarding head-to-head. Let's talk about players like Max. You've seen a lot of players perform against Spurs, that one performance that really stood out, and that one player who always did well against Spurs. Who would that be?
A performance that stood out, I'd say, was, I'm going back years, and this is when we beat them 6-1 at White Hart Lane, and Torre Andre Flo scored a hat-trick in that game. A player used to do well, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank used to always play well against Tottenham. I remember being at a game at the Bridge where he scored the perfect hat-trick. Left foot curler, right foot curler, header. Superb, So recent times, I'm not sure, because it's not like the Drogba Arsenal thing, is it?
I think Mata did pretty well as well, right? Mata, I think, got a couple of goals against Spurs and always had an assist, against Spurs. I think, again, like Akash mentioned, that was a time when we had, I think, still a very good record against Spurs. I think the Spurs record kind of, worsened from a Chelsea point of view. I think when, obviously, Jose took over and the negative football again started, right? In a way, I have to say that. But yeah, as in definitely a lot of players were, a lot of history there. But, let's look ahead. And as you say that, let's move on to the next topic, guys. Okay, so Tommy, I know it's been a couple of weeks since the transfer window has ended, but from a Spurs point of view, I know you got in Romero, you got in Emerson Royal, I think these were, I think defense were probably the main signings, so as to speak. And of course, I think Brian Gill, that's how I pronounce. And then he's a spark for sure. But are you kind of satisfied with the transfers? Is that something that you think that Spurs have missed in terms of the starting 11? Is Tommy there?
I was just gone.
Okay, no problem. I think Tommy's audio is having a problem. No problem, Tommy. While you come back, maybe you can try going.
Good. I'm back. My sound just went. Sorry, man. My headphones just went whereabouts.
Perfect timing. Yeah. So I was asking about the signings, right? As in what Spurs made. I know Nuno kind of works with the defense, and then he kind of moves the team forward. But from a Spurs point of view, you think Romero and Emerson Royal will they be starting 11 players for a long term? You're satisfied with them, or anyone else that you wanted? I know it's wishful thinking, but you think you're ready at least as a starting 11?
Romero is a difficult one. He was Serie A Defender of the Year last season when we picked him up from Atlanta, and that's no easy feat with Bonucci, Chiellini, Skriniar in that league with Inter winning the Scudetto. It's not easy to win Serie A Defender of the Year. So Romero comes over with that. He had a good Copa America of Argentina too. The problem with Romero, what we've seen even against Pacos in the Conference League, we had Pacos de Ferreira to qualify to the group stage. He's very, very aggressive. He's very, very aggressive. So it's a different game. It's a different game in Italy. So he's going to have to learn to adapt. He's going to have to learn to hold back a little bit. And the problem is we've got a lot of centre backs that are equally aggressive. We don't have too many that sit back. A lot of them are on the front foot. They want to win the ball. We only have Dyer, but he looks like he's going to be injured. So that's an issue. But I'm sure Romero hasn't even started a Premier League game for us yet. But look, as I said, he's won the Serie A Defender of the Year. He's definitely our best signing. He's certainly our best signing. After that, it really is you're beating around the bush. Emerson Royal had 2 seasons at Betis on loan from Barcelona. We don't know a great deal about him. The Palace game, he was awful. And I mean, he was shocking on the defensive side of things. In the attack, he looked unbelievably nervous. Then you've got Golini, a backup goalkeeper, also from Atlanta, who was our first summer signing. Sarr from Metz, he's back on loan at Metz. So we spent £15 million. We put him back on loan at Metz. And Brian Gill looks good. And if he plays on Sunday, he can make a difference. He's a difference maker. He's creative. He's hungry. So out of the signings, I would say Romero and Gill are probably our best ones. But even Romero's a massive risk. As I said, he's an aggressive centre back. So it's not been a good window for us. It really hasn't been a good window for us.
Yeah, but again, your form isn't bad, right? Because I know the Crystal Palace game, as a Chelsea fan, I love that. And I think thanks to Tanganga to do that, what he did. But I think Crystal Palace, again, are improving for sure. But talking about Spurs, do you see going back to the 4-3-3? I think if I'm not wrong, today you're playing a 4-3-3, right? As in, that is something that you're looking at, because I don't know if Bergwijn will be fit, but any major changes that you would make to this formation and lineup that you had versus Palace?
Yeah, I mean, we sort of, it was difficult to sort of fight to see what formation we played against Palace. Can I just say that Palace game, man of the match was Conor Gallagher. You got some youth on your hands. I tell you, you got some youth on your hands, because he was absolutely magnificent. He run the show, completely run the show. We stepped off him and allowed him to do that in a way. But he was absolutely outstanding. In terms of changes, it was a huge error. Lineup mistakes, play 4 basically centre mids against Palace. So I can see Hill coming in. The decision Nuno went with, the big one, was bringing Winks in for the first 3 games. Now that Son was injured, so Winks in now that Son was injured for the game. Now he's going to, I'm sure he has to, or his job's going to be on the line, basically. He cannot play with 4 centre mids, because Dele Alli's basically a centre mid as well now. So Winks will come out, I'm sure, and Gill will go back to the left, or maybe Bergwijn, who's injured. So it'll be a 4 flat 3 centre midfielders, and then it should be three attacking players, but 2 wingers, 2 wide players, and a strike, obviously Kane up top. Either Gill or Bergwijn on the left, and the same on the right, or maybe Lucas. Bergwijn and Lucas just got injured. So that's
the thing, right? Yeah, no, you're right, because
we've got no depth. We've got no depth, so we don't know what's going on up until the hour before the Chelsea game, because we've got a hell of a lot of injuries.
Yeah, but talking about injuries, right? Again, I know Tottenham have a lot of injuries. Like, we also, I think Kante is coming back from injury. Akash, from a Chelsea's point of view, I'm sure Kante starts, right? As in once he's fit against Spurs. I'll try and show you, what I kind of predict as a starting 11. But what do you think will be the Chelsea 11?
Back three sort of picks itself, right? So I think it's Rudiger at left centre back. We've gone with Silva and Christensen. I would probably put AC in the middle and Aspi at right wing back, right? And okay, is Reece James not eligible? He comes
is
back
eligible.
for this match.
Yeah, he comes back, but again, the reason I put it is again, looking at Spurs, and I didn't know about the wingers that Spurs have, right? So hearing that Bergwijn might be injured, Moura might be injured, as in we might as well go with Reece James, because I thought if they are there, probably Christensen, is probably better off as right centre back, and Aspi is right wing back. But yeah, I get your point. Definitely, Reece James probably comes in, and I think one of Christensen, Silva would play in the middle. But I think apart from that, Alonso against Spurs, like he has to play, right? As in, I know that Chilwell has probably deserved a chance to come back, but Alonso against Spurs has to play. What do you think?
If there's one match in a year that you could bring Alonso in, it would probably be against Spurs. I think Alonso gets a hard on whenever he sees the Spurs bat. So. And if you're looking at the midfield, I don't think if Kante is just coming back from injury, right? If Tuchel has even 1% doubt in his mind that he isn't fully fit, he should probably go with Jovic in midfield. They've been doing great, and if we're getting overrun in midfield, if Ndombele plays and he's sort of running all over Jorginho, maybe then we can think of bringing Kante on. But if he's not fully fit, I wouldn't risk him for this match right now, because long season, obviously. And, the front three looks spot on. Probably the same people I'd play there. Mount, Lukaku, and Havertz. A lot of people were critical of Mount versus Zenit, but early on in the season, he definitely has to get onto the same wavelength as Lukaku. They haven't played together too often, so it's only through playing in these match situations that you sort of see what runs, your striker makes and how to find him better. So, this squad looks spot on. Okay.
Perfect. And Max, coming to you, I think Ziyech, he scored 2 goals against Spurs in that friendly, but as in the performance in midweek surely doesn't tell that Ziyech is going to start, right? What do you think?
No, Ziyech can't start at all. Big shout on Alonso actually. Well, when you were saying before somebody always does well against Tottenham, Alonso should have been the first name to come, because he's always scoring, whether it be a free kick or I remember he scored a brace a few seasons ago. So his record against Tottenham is really good. I'd like to see Werner actually in this one, especially if Tottenham are going to be having an unfamiliar backline. Because what Tommy was saying is that there's a couple of their centre-halves are injured. I know Tanganga's suspended after that. I don't know what he was doing. He was playing, was it WWE doing Tommy the other day against Crystal Palace, or rugby with that push on
something like that. Something like that. And then getting sent off immediately after, man.
Yeah,
what was I don't know what all that was about.
Yeah. So I'd just like to see. I think by having somebody like Werner, it'll stretch the play and give more opportunities to I can say Drogba there to Lukaku. I wouldn't put Kovacic with Kante for this. It's going to be Jorginho and Kova. I'm not sure how fit Kante is, but he'll probably come on in the second half. I don't think he'll start in. And I'm hoping on Tottenham's side that Bergwijn doesn't play, or Moura, because I watched the game against Manchester City, and what I saw in that game, they defended very organised in defence, but they were so quick on the breakaway. And Bergwijn, I think, has been brilliant in the first couple of games this season for Tottenham. And what the manager had with on the Wolves, he had Traore, who was lightning quick. You can get them at the pitch really quickly, and that's what you saw in the game against Man City, where as soon as they got the ball, they got it out to their wingers, and they were up the field so fast. So I think if they don't have those wingers in there, that would help us greatly in the match.
Yeah, but again, like the point is, like, we haven't played against Bryan Gil, right? So that's something that unexpected, right? I don't know. Nuno is kind of clever. We cannot undermine that. But we saw that against Arsenal a year ago. And then suddenly they played Emil Smith Rowe, and I don't want to kind of see that as well. I always would like to see, someone that
we've got a clever manager too, haven't we?
Yeah, as in that helps. That helps for sure. But yes, having said that, like again, like people in the chat, I'll ask a question, like even to the panel and in the chat. Again, it's not for Tommy, but again, because it's a Chelsea, biased channel, and a lot of people in the chat are there. I would like to ask, like, any one player in the current Tottenham squad that you would take except for Kane. Who would that be? Maybe quickly, I'll go through the panel. Firstly, Akash, any one person that you would pick in the Chelsea, squad, like, from Tottenham?
Son. Is that too obvious, sir? Heung-Min Son.
Who's that? Son. So yeah, Son. Son. Yeah, Son is because obviously I think we are hoping Pulisic will become our Son, but Son is a fair call for sure, and I'm sure that Tommy would like,
And Dombele too. Awesome player. Maybe needs to work on his fitness a little bit, but class players.
I think he's available, right?
Yeah, he played. Yeah, you stole my thunder with that, because I would go. Son's the obvious one, but then Dombele is the one that I would have said, because he's the sort of profile that we're kind of missing in midfield. Big, powerful, skillful. Okay, Tommy may not have seen the best of him at Tottenham yet, but honest, I think if they can get him fit, there's a player there. I saw some. Tommy, you watched the game today. On Dombele, they were showing some of his highlights today. I thought he did decent in patches in the game.
Oh, he's a baller. Yeah. He's a complete baller. If he was playing 5-a-side or 6-a-side, I played 5-a-side or 6-a-side. I'm too old to play the 11-a-side stuff. He would be the best in the world. He would be the best 5-a-side or 6-a-side player in the world. He's unbelievably skillful. The magician. Somebody said this once. Magician. Perfectly. That's the perfect definition of what Ndombele is. But he's the lazy magician. His fitness is awful. He doesn't look interested. He's smiling when we're losing 3-0. His positional sense is terrible when we haven't got the ball. He just doesn't know what to do. He looks lost. He's a luxury player. He's a luxury player. If you've got a strong defense and you've got a strong defensive midfielder, maybe you could throw him in there, or at number 10 behind the striker, where he hasn't got any defensive responsibilities. That's where he's at his best. But for some reason, every manager we have dislikes him thoroughly. Poch, he couldn't get in under Poch to start with. Mourinho called him out. He called him out. He was like, "You are lazy," quite frankly. And he did. He came back the next season, started last season. He looked okay. And Nuno doesn't want to touch him. He hasn't played in any of the preseason games. He hasn't played in any of the 5 competitive games, not a minute. And he hasn't been injured either. He had a baby, but unless he gave birth to it, then I don't know if that's much of an excuse. So
interesting call. Yeah, definitely interesting, because I'm surprised there, because again, like I know people in the chat also kind of went for Son as obvious choice. I think Fandlia, so big up to you. And I think a couple of others also went for Son. I was actually expecting Højbjerg, because Højbjerg is someone who's kind of performed and more consistent compared to Ndombele. He does the job. I know he has that a bit too rashness in him. But for me, if you ask me, I would actually take Højbjerg even over Son. Like I know it's very controversial to say. But for me,
he should be our captain. He should be our captain, Højbjerg.
Exactly. He has that leadership quality. Is something in midfield, like probably again, like I know I mentioned that Ndombele is probably available because he's not being played at Spurs anyway. Like but who knows? Like again, some movements have happened between Chelsea and Tottenham and vice versa. But for me, there are still a couple of players, and I think if Nuno gets you guys right, I think who knows, you guys can, definitely, at least get the Europa League spot again for me. Like, that's what I see. But yes, Arik Mahmood, I'm not a Chelsea supporter, but I want Chelsea to destroy Tottenham. Thanks. That's all I can say. But yeah, sorry to Tommy to see that message. But yeah, thanks. Big up to you. And yes, again, if anyone who's new visitor to the channel, please do consider subscribing, and also take a look at the description, because all the people in the panel are having great channels or great views on Twitter as well as on the channel. So definitely, go and give them a follow as well. And
smash the likes here first. Smash the likes here first and sub up. Even that little notification bell. I've learned it's so important. That little notification bell notifies you when when Ankit's going live. You're doing so much content. I love seeing your stuff. It's brilliant to be part of it. So hit the notification bell, like, subscribe, and it's free. This is what people forget as well. Like new people to YouTube is completely free, and it helps so much. It helps so much.
Absolutely, well said there. But yeah, as we say that, let's go to the final section, because yes, let's cover the other stuff in the Premier League this weekend, right? So here we go. Okay, so it's basically fun time because we'll probably be coming back to these predictions during the next international break, and that is what the target is. All the guest panelists, I'm kind of scoring, and I've started a scoring system. So hopefully we'll get the predictions right, as in we'll just go basically for a simple prediction, right? So let me just try and share my screen. Obviously, we can start off with the Spurs game, Spurs versus Chelsea. First, Akash, what's your score prediction? And even in the chat, please put in your predictions.
2-0 Chelsea.
Great prediction there. How about you, Max?
I'm going 1-0 Chelsea. Tight game.
Interesting. Tommy, you called it a draw, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be 1-1. I think it'll be 1-1. I think it'll be 1-1, or someone will nick it by one goal. Yeah, it'll be tight. Yeah, I think it'll be tight, as Max said.
Okay, interesting. So again, people in the chat, please comment with your prediction, and we will come to this, and we'll have a prediction, kind of leaderboard also published on my Twitter account very soon in the next international break, right? So I am noting this down, and the next one obviously would be the big one. I think it's a big weekend for Man United and Ole Gunnar for me, and West Ham as well, because they are playing, in the Europa League as we speak. So it'll be a tricky fixture. Akash, West Ham, Man United, what do you reckon?
4-0 West Ham. Putting it
Wow.
out there.
You can't be serious.
Remember, they got no Antonio Conte, I can say. No Antonio this week.
Yeah.
He got sent off, didn't they?
And of course, they can't get the 4 goals from Sebastian Haller. He's gone.
They didn't sign a backup. That's the thing. They did not sign a backup striker.
They haven't got a backup, no.
Yeah,
I think Vlasic is probably someone who can play up front, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
Lanzini can play as well, but Lanzini, I'm not sure is match fit. I don't know. So 4-0.
Bowen can play up there as well, can't he? Bowen used to play up there when he was.
Oh yeah, of course.
Ben Rama probably can too, because he's a very good finisher, Ben Rama. So they can adjust. They probably can adjust a little bit.
Yeah. So we are talking goals. So Max, are you going for a 4-0 as well?
No, I'm going 1-1.
1-1. Interesting. Till now, no one has actually called a Man United win. I'm actually, if you ask me, going for a big Man United win. I think probably West Ham traveling as in midweek, which they're not used to, will probably come back biting for them, and it'll be too much. And Man United are basically, ready to kind of, prove themselves. That's what I believe. And I want Ole to stay. That's the point, right? But how about you, Tommy?
I'll do a prediction league, and I a couple of days ago I put Man United 1-0. But after the loss against young boys, I think they'll win 2 or 3 because they've got a point to prove now. So I think they'll go all out. I think they'll probably win by 2 or 3 goals. And I can't stand West Ham. I hate West Ham fans more than Chelsea and Arsenal fans. I just have to confirm that. I cannot stand West Ham. You will never see me on a West Ham channel. That's one channel you will never see me on, is a West Ham channel.
Absolutely, because Tommy covers a lot of content, but I've never actually seen a West Ham fan on his channel as well. Maybe I missed, but I don't know. That's just me, right? But having said that, let's move to Leicester, Brighton, because I think Leicester, traveling away again after the midweek fixture. I don't know. Akash, do you reckon Leicester will just have enough and they'll probably have Daka or someone play?
2-1 Leicester, maybe. I'm guessing.
Okay,
interesting. He's one player I like a lot, so we'll be watching it for him for sure.
Yeah. I think he's one to watch out for. And how about you, Max?
Leicester at home, you said. I can't see that.
Leicester is away, so it's Brighton.
Away
Leicester.
to Brighton. Okay, if it's an away match, I'm going to go a surprising 1-1 again for that one.
Interesting. How about you, Tommy?
Yeah, I'm sitting on the fence. I'm going 1-1. Draw all over this.
Interesting. Again, coming to the chat, Eric thinks that it's going to be a United win. And again, people in the chat do participate because we will have a scoring system. And you never know. At the end of the season, we may have some kind of a giveaway for that as well, right? Because we are, of course, we are having a trivia as well as, this prediction league that I'm planning to begin. And next international break is when you'll see, these fixtures kind of come up in terms of scoring. But yeah, as in other games, I think Liverpool play Crystal Palace among the top 4 teams. Crystal Palace did very well, but do you think, Akash, Liverpool will just have enough to beat Crystal Palace?
I'm guessing Liverpool look up for it. I think they have, they're struggling in phases between matches, but they're sort of building ahead of steam. So maybe 2-1 Liverpool.
Interesting. And Michael Talks Football joins again, a brilliant channel here. He says West Ham 1, ManUtd 3, and I kind of went with that prediction as well. But Max, Liverpool to get the win again?
Yeah, I think Palace have now got a goal scorer in Edouard, what they needed. But in this one, I just think Liverpool are going to win that one 2-0.
Okay. And Tommy, come on, like Liverpool cannot win back-to-back matches, right? Do you think so? It's true or no?
I think this is going to be a 1-1. I think this is going to be 1-1. I think Liverpool at home with the Kop end is something special. But Palace, they smashed us 3-0, and I think they've done some magnificent business. I think they've done some brilliant transfers.
I think Edouard is very good. Like I've seen the stats, right? For someone who kind of takes so many shots, he's bound to score a lot of goals. So I think Crystal Palace, unlike last season, like it's kind of ironical, right? Because under Roy Hodgson, they couldn't score. Like, whatever it meant, they couldn't score. That was something that was missing. But I think with Edouard coming in, Gallagher coming to form, you're right.
You've got Elise as well. Watch out for Elise.
Yes.
Elise is some player. I watch a lot of Championship football. That boy is going to be big time. I'm telling you now, Elise is going to be big time. Eze's injured as well. They'll have Eze back at some stage. But for this game, do you know what? I think Liverpool will. I think the squad knows that Harvey Elliott is a big loss. He's a big loss to them. And I think that will be reverberating around the camp. So I feel like, 1-1. Why not? Palace can nick a draw here.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, a little note on Elise as well. He used to be on Chelsea's books. Do you know that?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Yeah, that's so good for Reading last season. So quality player.
Yeah, there's a lot of players, and again, a lot of other matches are there. I think another match that I would like to give a shout out to is obviously the Villa-Everton game. I think that's going to be a high-scoring effort. I think I saw Everton, surprisingly, Benitez are actually playing attacking football. That's something great to watch, and obviously Villa always attack. So that's a great game to watch. But yes, looking forward to the weekend. Again, thanks to the panel, thanks to everyone in the chat here to participate. I know, Tommy, you had to come, even not seeing Tottenham win. Great. I respect for that. But yeah, as in great to have you. Any last words? Any final thoughts? Or you think that we are going to basically meet again very well? And I think we'll do well against you, right? But having said that, I think Tottenham are a great team, and hopefully you guys will just about be in the Europa League and not just be kind of challenging us, but hopefully be there where you want to be.
Yeah, so you want us around just so you can beat us, basically. You want us around so you can just beat us. That's what it is. That's what you're telling me. It's, as I said, it's going to be a tight fixture, but you're going to go down as heavy favourites. I'm probably a little bit optimistic because I'm going to the game, so I'm a little bit optimistic. I'm going to meet some of the fellow streamers I've been doing a lot of work with. So it could be a depressing one. It could be a real depressing fixture. But as I said, I think there'll only be one goal. I think there'll only be one goal between us. And at home, we are different. We are different gravy at home. I mean, you can say that for a lot of teams this season. With the COVID restrictions, the fans bad. They're just louder. The decibels, the noise is just louder than it ever has been. So I think that will play a part. The whole 12th man thing too. But yeah, as I said, we're favourites. We're definitely going to be favourites to draw. And a big up for allowing me on today, Ankit. It's fantastic to be part of your channel for the first time. It's been coming. And yeah, we've got to sort something out again. For sure. So yeah, big privilege. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, absolute pleasure. And again, everyone in the chat, please subscribe to Tommy's channel. Tommy talks ball. He knows ball, right? As in simply put, and a lot of content that is covered there. I love his channel. Again, it's just not Spurs. A lot of neutral content that he covers as well. And I obviously I've been there a few times, and hopefully I'll be there again as well. But yeah, as in quickly, I'll throw a stat out there. You mentioned that home advantage for Spurs, but I think Chelsea haven't lost an away league derby. I think. For about 5 games. And this is going to be like a record. I think no Chelsea team has won 6 consecutive away league derbies, London derbies, that is, right? And that's something. So again, something's got to give, and that's another reason why I'm really looking forward to this game. But again, thanks. But Akash, great having you. I know it's been a long time for you as well, but hopefully you will come on more, consistently, and always love your thoughts. Any last words that you have to share?
No, thank you for having me on. Always fun to discuss football with you, and thank you, Tommy and Max. This is great. hopefully we do this again soon.
Perfect. And yes, of course, Max, Burton Ballerz, a brilliant channel there. As in, I'm a fan of Burton Ballerz. But Max, you are coming back for sure for the trivia final, right? As in, much before that, maybe we discuss again football, but that's something that I'm looking forward to. How are you thinking?
Yeah, okay. Thanks for having me on again. Great show. And it's good to see a different perspectives. Tommy was, we've got that rivalry going on, but, that's all good. It's just football, isn't it, at the end of the day? And the one team that we can't lose to is Tottenham. I'm sorry. That's it. There's a couple of fixtures I look at, and it's one Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool are the three that I just don't like losing to. Yeah, so I'm just hoping for a great performance. And like with everything, I just don't want the referee to ruin it. That's all I want. And no controversial decisions. May the best team win at the end of the day. Whoever plays the best, who deserves it. And yeah. So once again, thanks for having me on, and thanks guys for the interaction. It was very good.
No, absolutely my pleasure. And again, everyone in the chat as well. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, smash that like as well as subscribe. We'll be back. Of course, we will be reviewing the Spurs game as well as we have a League Cup game as well. That's something that we're looking forward to next week. And hopefully you all will also subscribe to Tommy Talks Ball, Burton Ballerz, and follow Akash, because I follow them and they know their stuff for sure, right? And until then, I think that's it. Take care and have a good one, guys.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.